How are you feeling about everything that's going on at the moment?
It's a big question, isn't it? Actually, and I'm slightly embarrassed to say, not too bad. I mean, it's, you know, it's such an extraordinary situation, isn't it? But actually, I am myself, I'm okay. I kind of feel like we're on top of things. The home situation is kind of working, and progress is being made, not just by me, but by my children. So I'm at home. I've got 3 kids, 18, 14, nearly 15, and 4. So it's full on, but it's full on, and at the end of each day, there's something good to say. Well, we did that. We managed that. And nobody's falling apart. Nobody's ill. I've got relatives who work in the NHS, you know, that are carrying significant risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all okay. I think the hardest thing is that it's, you know, it's open-ended, isn't it? And so I always hesitate to say we're okay because it can change quite quickly, can't it? And whether I'll be okay in another 6 months' time, which is lots might go on for. But you think you learn to take every day as it comes and every week as it comes.
Okay, and what about yourself? How have you been holding up specifically?
Specifically me, yeah, you know, I have my moments, definitely have my moments. I definitely have my moments of where I like sort of suddenly explode and I think, oh, where's that come from? Or I can feel that I'm getting to the end of my tether. Being at home all day with a 4-year-old is really relentless. And, you know, much as we love our children, you can have enough of a good thing, can't you? So I think, but it's been good for me to identify what I need to keep me sane, and then to try to be really disciplined about carving out time to have those things.
Okay, and you've managed to be successful when it came to time management. You've managed to stay true to the things that that are important to you, despite all the other things that you need to contend with.
You know what? Better in lockdown than other times, I think, because some of the choice has gone away. Some stuff you know you can't do. You can't see friends. You can't, you know. But so you have to be much more disciplined about planning that stuff in. So in some ways, I'm more disciplined now about making time for me and recognizing that if I'm okay, it's more likely that everybody else in the household will be okay. If I'm balanced or I'm more patient, and I'm not exploding at people, or I'm running around like a crazy headless chicken trying to spin a million plates at the same time, then everything else will be. And especially for my children, I feel if I'm role modeling that I'm not anxious, that I'm not desperate, that I'm not out of control, then they won't feel the need to be any of those things either.
Okay, brilliant. So what made you transition to online training?
It was really important to me to keep going, because I know from my history that I've had, like many women, batches of time when I've been more or less successful with diet and exercise. I've probably done every diet and every exercise program that's ever been written, for one length of time or another. And for, you know, life comes back and gets in the way, and I find I can keep going so long, and then my old habits came back. And I was determined when I came to you in November. Actually, I wasn't that determined straight off in November. I was like, in November, I was sort of, I've got to give this a shot. My 50th birthday is approaching, and, you know, more of my life is behind me than is in front of me. And I don't want to spend any more time feeling like a second-class version of myself. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to do it before I'm 50. And then I got to 50, and I was like, okay, I'm a bit better off. I'm a lot better off than I was in November, but I'm still not where I think I can be and where I'd like to be. So we're just going to keep going, and not just keep going towards a different goal, but keep going to embed some of this stuff in a way of life that is sustainable and isn't going to slide back, so that I don't have to deal with all of the guilt and regret that comes with, I was in a good place, now I'm not in that good place. So, you know, when you can't go to the gym anymore, you say, well, what can I do? And you guys were great at saying, well, this is what you can do. You can either you know, do the online sessions, or you can do your own workouts on your workout of the day, or you can do a combination of them. And in some ways, it's easier because I don't lose 25 minutes commuting to the gym each way, which is what it was for me, going to a morning class with traffic if I was driving, or I was on my bike. And I don't have to pay for parking. And we were lucky enough, we've got a bit of space, a room downstairs where we've got some equipment. Nothing major, couple of kettlebells, a couple of weights. And, you know, it's just, and the sessions are at such, there's always a session at a time that I can make work if I want, you know, if you want to make it work, you make it work. It'd be 8 in the morning, or it'll be 7:30 in the evening, or it's 8 in the evening, or it's 9 o'clock on a weekend, or it's, you know, there's something, or I can do my own workout. So it's very, very flexible. So there really isn't a reason for me to say I can't do it, even if it's just 20 minutes.
Well, you made that commitment, didn't you? You said, this is important to me. And then you've acted upon it. And that's the great thing about watching you make the transition, is that it kind of has been seamless for you. And it's not to say that you don't go through questions about whether things are working or whether or not you're getting, you know, you're achieving exactly what you want at any given time. But the fact is that you keep moving forwards. And that's for me to watch as a coach is exciting, because that's the process of getting healthy, I think.
Yeah, and I think for me, I've always been the kind of person that needs to feel that I'm making progress. Because as soon as you feel you're not making progress, then you say, well, what am I continuing for? Or I need to do something different. And I think when I know what those moments are, and then I think what's great about what you guys offer is that it's not just going to a gym and doing a class. I know that I can drop you a message and say, oh, I'm having a wobbly week. I might fall off the wagon. I might, you know, I'm struggling with motivation. And then I can have that connection with you or with the community at a class and feel like I'm being part of something and I'm on a journey, or I can, you know, see from other testimonials, well, this was where someone was after 6 months, but look where they are then again after a year. That you can still, you can adjust things, and it's not a hamster wheel. It's not, okay, I've got on my hamster wheel, I do the same thing every week, because I have a low boredom threshold, so you'd probably have lost me by now if that was it. Classes are different. Classes are hard, but they're not so hard that you never want to do another one, which does happen. I've been there before. Other trainers, it's like, you know, I'm not going back there. Like, I nearly died. I'm not going to that again.
I was going to ask, you know, how have you found the classes themselves? Because we've gone from training in a gym with all the equipment available, and obviously you're in a state of mind when you walk through the door, you're in a gym. How have you actually found the classes in your own home with the limited weights, etc.?
Not so different, actually, because, you know, your trainer's still there. You know, I mean, probably like many people, I hadn't heard of Zoom 3 months ago. I didn't know what Zoom was, you know, but now I know that sometimes I like to just have the trainer on the screen and just watch the trainer. Sometimes I like to see all the other people, what they're doing. And sometimes I know, you know, I kind of know who's going to be fast in the group. And I'll say, like, I'm going to watch him and I'm going to be as fast as him or her. And it's quite social. It doesn't feel for me so different. And that, you know, if it's a nice day, I take my computer outside into the garden. Sometimes I have to, because my son wants to play PlayStation in the room where I exercise. Negotiation, who's going to have the space?
Yeah.
It's a little bit tricky. And sometimes you haven't got the right weight that, you know, ideally would have at the gym, but you guys are brilliant. They say, well, if you've got a weight, do this. If you haven't got a weight, you've got a band, do this. If you haven't got either of those things, do this variation. That's your body weight. But I always sweat. I always feel like I've worked hard, but not so hard that I don't want to do the next class, which for me is really key. Okay.
So, I mean, how's the training helped you manage your goals recently? Do you feel that you are making the progress that you want? Do you feel that you would have made more progress in person? Where are you in terms of your own mindset now?
You know, I definitely don't think I would have made more progress if the physical location of the gym was still open. I think probably I've made more progress because I've done my 3 classes a week and I've done some supplementary, because I've been disciplined about saying, okay, I need some time for myself and I'm going to use that time to exercise. I mean, I don't always use it to exercise, obviously. Sometimes I do other fun stuff. Yeah, and how has it helped me? I mean, the obvious things. I mean, I came to Hounds of Health to drop some weight, to lose some dress sizes, to get back and feeling in control. I was making good choices about nutrition, and to spend my last decades of life. That sounds a bit dramatic, but you know, I didn't want to spend the next decade thinking or making excuses. You know, people say, "Oh, well, you can't lose weight when you're menopausal." You definitely can. I will, you know, I'm testimony to that. You definitely can. I didn't want to, every time I went in the cupboard, see all those, like many women, I've got that whole extra wardrobe of stuff no longer fit. You know, it's really nice stuff. I'd like to, now I can wear that stuff again. You know, I've dropped 2.5 stone, I've dropped 2 dress sizes, and I'm still going. But almost as important as that stuff is the stuff that I didn't know was important. And by that I mean being more flexible, being stronger, not worrying about you know, my knees giving way. You know, I can't say I'm never going to need a hip replacement, but I'm definitely less likely to need a hip replacement now than I was 6 months ago. You know, I don't want my later years, and I do have a 4-year-old child I've got to keep up with. I don't want them to be full of injury and heaving myself up off the sofa, or I want to be able to chase around the park and kick a football and fly a kite and do all those things that 4-year-olds love to do.
So essentially, I mean, have you ever pictured what you would be like if you weren't training? Have you thought about the separate journey that you could have taken?
I have thought about it. I don't dwell on it. I have thought about it, and I've thought about it because many of my friends are having that experience. Many of my friends are struggling with being at home, being under occupied, eating too much, eating the wrong thing, not the wrong thing, you know, not making the choices that are consistent with how they want to live and be. And, you know, and I live with a 15-year-old who's got a sweet tooth. Like yesterday, she made Rocky Road. It's delicious. Or, you know, in times gone by, I would have eaten half of that thing already. Or I would have told her not to make it, which is not fair.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to be around those things and just be able to make sensible choices. So, you know, and it's incredibly freeing not to have to have that little critical voice going on at me all the time. Oh, why did you eat that? Oh, what about this? You know, look at that bit of, you know, or every time I catch sight of myself in a mirror or in a window, having that little negative voice. Because if you get rid of that little negative voice, there's much more room for positive voices, or just calm and quiet.
Yeah.
Without those voices.
Great. So why do you think people should be doing online training with us?
Well, there's why should anyone do online training, but why should anyone do online training with Hounds of Health? Because it's not just about doing the training. It's not just about doing a class a week or 2 classes a week or 3 classes a week. It's about being part of. It's about having for me, it's about going on a journey. It's nauseating, but being able to see progress, being able to know where do you want to go, where do you want to get to, and having a process for getting there, and feeling supported on that, feeling supported both by the coaches and the trainers who know where you want to go and get to. And even if that's like when you say to me in a class, you know, if you want that goal with your legs, you're going to have to squat lower and it's going to hurt a bit more, but you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
That's just a small example, but also being, you know, going on that journey with all the other part of the community. And every week new people are popping up and taking their first class. And it's exciting to think, oh, well, I was there 4 months ago. I'm not there now. I've moved on. You know, I can do all these things. I couldn't do a press up. You know, I can only do 1 or 2 proper ones, but I can do a fair number of 3/4 ones, decent ones, you know. And even today we were sitting in the garden and I don't know why. And I suddenly went, oh, and my daughter said to me, oh, you've got a proper bicep. And I was like, I really have. That's a bit.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's about being part of something that, so you feel supported and that you're keeping going towards a goal. And even if that goal is just staying where you are, it's really hard to keep doing things if you don't have any support. If you sort of, you know, if you stop, the world moves on without you, and by default you kind of fall back. Yeah. So people around you, and also because life gets in the way. I mean, it's never a straight line, is it? You make progress, then you plateau, you fall back a little bit, and you make some more progress, and you need people around you to help you when you plateau, you feel demotivated, or you slip back, or whatever it is. And Hounds of Health is a community. It's a community of people who are on that same journey, their own journey, or have been there where you are, and can tell you how it, and they can empathise with how you feel, and can make good suggestions about how to get through it. So it's not just about, and the end of the age of training is incredibly easy. You know, you sign on, people are there, you follow the exercises, in 50 minutes you're done, and then you get on with your day.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Gemma. I really appreciate your insight into your own journey. For me, it's always good to kind of see it's sometimes it's good to just see where you started and kind of see what you've been thinking about and what you've had to contend with and the kind of progress you've made towards that goal. Because it's kind of why I do it as well. I really enjoy just hearing stories, because otherwise, you know, you lose context, and it's great to just hear it from you. So thank
I'm incredibly grateful to you personally, Paul, and to all your trainers. I think you're doing a fantastic job. I know it's extremely difficult in these circumstances, but you know, I'm really happy where I am today, and I wouldn't be here if it were not for you and your team. So I'm really grateful.
Brilliant. That's why I do it. It's good.